Elimination Chamber is coming up next Saturday from Perth, Australia with a 5 a.m. start time here on the East Coast. Here's what I'm thinking, and chime in and let me know if this sounds good to you. I'm not sure what kind of audience there would be, honestly, at 8:30 in the morning or 9 o'clock in the morning for a live review. So I'm thinking of going live around noon, or sometime between noon and 1 p.m. that day on YouTube to talk about the pay-per-view. So that's what I'm leaning towards doing, especially if I'm going to be live the night before after SmackDown. I know I'm not going to get to bed until late. And just pulling an all-nighter when I still have a podcast to prepare for on Sunday, that don't work for me, brother. I mean, what are you trying to do, kill me? I say we go live around lunchtime next Saturday and just break it all down. So let me know what you think. It's tough to do predictions without even knowing all the participants in the Women's Chamber match. That'll be decided in a last chance battle royal on Raw tomorrow night. If Jade Cargill is in it, then she's winning it and she's advancing to the Chamber. But I don't know if she'll even be in the battle royal. You know, a lot of it comes down to whether or not they want her in the Chamber at all, if she's not going to win it. She was in the Royal Rumble and she didn't win, but she still looked great. So there's always a way to include her in that. Maybe even let her eliminate a couple of people, but then she falls to someone else. It's possible. Right now, the lineup for the Women's Chamber is Becky Lynch, Bianca Belair, Liv Morgan, Naomi, and Tiffany Stratton, which is a hell of a lineup. It almost doesn't matter who fills that final spot, though. I've got Becky Lynch against Rhea Ripley as the match at WrestleMania. Rhea is defending her women's world title against Nia Jax. That's a win for Rhea. Anyone betting against her on that show is a fool. Pete Dunne and Tyler Bate challenge Finn Balor and Damian Priest for the undisputed tag team titles. I don't see the Judgment Day dropping the titles on this show. The only reason I would not rule it out completely is if they wanted to do Balor against Priest at WrestleMania. Then I could see a title change here. But I'm still predicting a Judgment Day win. The field of 6 has been set for the Men's Chamber match with the winner challenging Seth Rollins for the World Heavyweight title at WrestleMania. Drew McIntyre, Randy Orton, LA Knight. What the hell was that? Bobby Lashley, Kevin Owens, and Logan Paul. Scared the shit out of me. And Logan Paul. Another stacked lineup. You could take out Lashley, Owens, and Logan Paul. They're not winning. That leaves McIntyre, Orton, and Knight. All three have a chance. LA Knight has the lowest chance of the three. I'm still pulling for a U.S. title match at WrestleMania with Knight and Paul. And they could have one eliminate the other inside the chamber to light the fuse for a feud. I think we get the eventual Owens and Logan Paul rematch, because they're going to have a rematch for the U.S. title, I believe, and I think they could do that on TV. They don't have to hold off until WrestleMania to do that. To me, it comes down to McIntyre and Randy Orton. Randy has no obvious opponent right now for WrestleMania. Him wrestling Cody for the WWE title is something I would like to see. Maybe that could even be a SummerSlam match. But to do that, they need to be on the same brand. But with Cody challenging Roman at WrestleMania, if he wins the title, that's going to open up a big hole on Raw that needs to be filled. Orton would certainly fill it if he won the Chamber. They would effectively be swapping brands. That's why I can't count him out completely, but I'm going to stick to my guns and say that Drew McIntyre wins the Chamber. And Drew McIntyre is the correct choice to win the Chamber. This man has been killing it recently. I love the work that he's been doing. His story arc, I mean, it just dovetails perfectly into WrestleMania, getting one more shot. I think we get him, Seth, and Sami Zayn, I think, is going to ultimately find his way into that World Heavyweight title match. You know, they've got 6 weeks of television, 6 weeks or so, to figure out a way to get him in there. It just feels to me like that's what they're building to. I mean, they could always take someone like Sami and stick him in there with Gunther at WrestleMania, who needs an opponent now that Brock Lesnar is not going to be on the show. Some people thought maybe Braun Breaker would take that spot. Now we know that's not going to happen because Braun Breaker is officially a member of the SmackDown roster. So Sami Zayn would be on the short list, I think, of potential opponents for Gunther at WrestleMania. You put him on there. You put Andrade on there. I'm still going to stick Chad Gable on there because I got my fingers crossed. I'm holding out hope, even though it doesn't look good. But I still feel like Sami is going to work his way into that world title match. You know, all this stuff about how I'm a contender and I believe that I can be a world champion. It's not about the Intercontinental title for him. You know, been there, done that. If they're working that story, it's all about the World Heavyweight title and him trying to find his way into that match. So I got Drew for the win in the men's chamber. I am wondering, though, I wonder if they would close the show with Rhea Ripley over the men's chamber. I feel like it'll be the men's chamber, I feel like, but there's a chance they could potentially close out the show with Rhea Ripley against Nia Jax, which would be, now on the one hand, it would be quite the choice, but as over as I'm sure Rhea's going to be there in that stadium, I don't know, is it all that unrealistic to think they might do that? I don't think it is. Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins, they will be on the show, but as guests on the Grayson Waller effect. They showed Waller and Paul Heyman speaking backstage on SmackDown Friday night. We couldn't hear what they were talking about. I expect some kind of Bloodline appearance. Will it be Roman Reigns or The Rock, though? Yeah, I could see it. Especially if this tag team match is still in play for WrestleMania. They could shoot the angle for it at the Chamber. Remember, the officials down there had asked WWE months ago if they thought that there was a chance that they could get The Rock for this show. What a kick in the teeth it would be to them now that Rock is actually back if they don't get him to show up. They already have no Roman Reigns title defense. They have no Seth Rollins title defense. They lost CM Punk. It's a long flight, but they could be a surprise. I don't know if you saw the video Roman Reigns posted on his Twitter. It was him and Paul Heyman. They filmed it at TV the other night. It was just him sitting on the couch backstage. Paul Heyman's behind him, admiring him as he always does. And Roman asks him, he goes, wise man, where's the chamber being held? And Heyman tells him, Perth, Australia, my tribal chief. And Roman's eyes, they nearly bugged out of his head when he asked. He goes, I have to go down there? Heyman told him, no. You could see the relief wash over his face. For a second there, that man thought he might actually have to take his ass to work. He almost had a heart attack. But it takes balls to have your champion tweet out a message to people telling them to buy tickets, and he had a Ticketmaster link in there. Buy your tickets while in the same message telling you he's not going to be on the show.